That's my point. Exactly, right? You can't even know.
Because when I saw it, I'm like, oh, Will's funny. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, I've seen crazier things.
1980s now.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of 1980s Now, a weekly examination of the importance of 1980s pop culture and its influence today. Hey, my name is Will, and joining me, as always, or at least one of my friends and co-hosts, let's give it up for John!
Hey there. Poor Kat. We'll see her next time.
Yeah, Kat couldn't make it today, but she will be missed.
She will.
I miss Kat every day. I just need Kat like hovering around me, her positive vibes. You know?
It does happen, right? When we're all together at a show or something, it's like a fairy kind of flitting around from person to person, making everyone smile, sprinkling happy fairy dust on everyone. Yeah. So,
hey, on today's show, check this out. We're going to give our spoiler-free and then our spoiler-filled review of Tron Ares. John and I were privy. I want to say it this way because this sounds like we're hooked up, right? John and I were privy to an early screening of the film.
Oh, yeah.
But hey, before we do any of that, we're also going to chat about some news stories related to 1980s news, including something wicked has finally come to Disney Plus, that is. Zelda Williams asks fans to stop sending her AI images of her father. Oh, my God. I hate AI, but this is...
I know. I mean, this is a story just for you. I know. It's right up your alley.
I feel so... It feels even more personal now on her behalf, I guess. Woo. And Prime Video UK has disarmed, or at least momentarily, disarmed James Bond.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like both of these stories are sort of interesting examples of, I don't know, the technology we have. And look, talking about Tron in a few moments. The technology we have in using it or abusing it, or the limitations, that's important to have controls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it all kind of comes together, and I guess maybe not so much the first story, but the other two and Tron all together have to do with how we use that technology, what we do to it, and what it then can do to us if we don't respect how we treat it or how we treat each other with it. Yeah.
Oh, I just thought of a way to crowbar the first story into. All right, we could do that too. Yeah.
Wedge it in. Okay.
Hey, there's time codes in the show notes if you'd like to skip around. And it's important this time around, not like, John's making a face here, because you might want to make sure you skip over the spoiler review later on in the show.
Good point.
But
good call.
We'll give you plenty of notice and warnings and sirens so you won't have it ruined. Because I hate that. We live in this cycle now where you don't have 24 hours to see something before you see a thumbnail that ruins a cameo in a film.
Yeah, quit it. It's because they want the click. Getting the click is more important to them than respecting the spoiler.
Yeah.
And they think they're being sly, like, oh, we'll just show this. But even that is too much, as you alluded to. Even just the picture, the thumbnail, quit it.
Hey, no spoilers for a while yet. We're just going to chat about 1980s news. Look, this is especially great news for a couple of reasons. One, because, as you know, Halloween season has me hunting. You and I exchange messages, offline about this all the time. Halloween has me hunting for horror movies, and I don't like just any old horror movie. Terrifiers, that kind of shit does not interest me.
Right.
Seeing something horrible physically happen to somebody, that's horrific. Yes. But it's not the kind of horror that draws my attention.
We want the horror that like creeps up the back of your neck and makes it like, ooh, that's creepy. That feeling is like, oh, damn. That's what you want.
John is tied to the back of my neck somehow. I don't know how he has this power. He just said that. I swear to God. I kind of like rub out the goosebumps every time. But this is also especially great news for me because I've been, lamenting about this, the digital absence of this film for years, including on this show. So per Bloody Disgusting, the rare Halloween film Something Wicked This Way Comes has finally made its streaming debut. This is how I'm going to crowbar this in, John, is the fact, we're talking about AI, we're talking about photoshopping of images, we're talking about technology and how it could be used and or abused. This is a case for physical media, I suppose. Right?
Okay.
So
you got there. I can see that.
Kind of anti-digital because, again, another way that maybe we rely on it in a way that's, is harmful to our own interests. So, hey, check it out. Now available for the first time ever is Disney's rare out-of-print gateway horror movie. I know certainly it was a gateway horror movie for me. It was one I had seen early in the 1980s. It came out in 1983. see, had I seen anything before that? Yeah, probably I'd seen Dawn of the Dead before that. Those were ones, there were movies that I watched kind of between my fingers sort of thing. But this one was, the protagonists are children, and it's a Disney film. So it seemed like, like many other films that are produced by Disney, it's meant for the whole family. So I opened it with wide eyes. And boy, it was scary.
They poked you right in your eye with a stick.
Yeah. So
Take that.
The film is based on Ray Bradbury's 1962 novel, and it was adapted by the author himself. It's set in late October and follows two young boys who visit a traveling carnival. Every aspect of this is a Halloween-ish thing.
Yeah.
And the carnival is led by this mysterious Mr. Dark, played perfectly by Sir Jonathan Pryce. And I think the first performance I had seen of him, I think after that I'd see Brazil, maybe a few years after that. I don't remember which came out first, but I'd seen this before Brazil, certainly.
Okay.
But in addition to him, we've got some other great actors, including Jason Robards and Diane Ladd. If you're surprised that this is a Disney movie and it's dark, this is a time when the studio is ramping up live action production. It expands to include Touchstone, which will produce even more live action movies, as part of the Disney umbrella of films. Right. But they were not shying away from making, again, family horror movies, I guess. A Watcher in the Woods or The Watcher in the Woods comes to mind.
I've never heard of that category.
What's that?
Family horror?
Yes. It could either be movies intended for the whole family or that the entire family is killed.
Both fit in the same category?
Yeah.
That's a dangerous, split. I remember, was this a short story or a novel? Probably a short story, because I read a lot of Bradbury short stories.
Okay.
I remember reading this, and it probably was a short story because I never just picked up a full book because I'm too lazy. Mm-hmm. But I'd read a lot of Bradbury. Well, I guess I read Fahrenheit, but otherwise, I read mostly his short stories. So I don't know that I ever saw the movie at all, though.
Okay.
Now, I watched, in the 70s, I watched scary Disney movies, like Escape from Witch Mountain, Return to Witch Mountain. Those were more thrillers, I guess. They're not so much scary horror, but scary things happen to kids, but I mean. So this might have been, I don't know if I ever picked up on, or I knew it was a film. I looked as we were getting ready for the show, and I have it in my library, but I've never watched it. I have it because someone else wanted to see it. So I haven't watched it. But you have, apparently. It's a favorite of yours.
Yes. And in fact, again, because it was, not only has it been rare since and out of print since, it was hard to come across when it came out in the early 1980s. It wasn't a success in the box office. It only made about $8 million off of a $19 million budget, and so quickly disappeared. The only chance of you seeing it were on some rare physical media. And for us, our family, we had a CED player, which we've talked about. It's a physical. It's not a laser disc. Not a light shining on a platter that get the information. This is a stylus.
Is that weird? Yeah. Video records, video vinyl. Was it vinyl or was it just?
I don't know what it was made of, because the way they were constructed was not unlike laser disc, where you could never see the disc. You put the giant cartridge, the thin, vinyl-sized cartridge in there, and you never saw it again.
Did it have like the floppy disk door that would slide open?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, a little thing would flop
Well, that was
open.
to protect it.
Yeah.
Since it was physical, they really had to protect it from, just like floppy disks, protect it.
Yeah.
Well, floppy disks are magnetic, but I mean, you had to protect it from dust and debris and fingerprints and everything. So they didn't want humans to touch those things. So you had those little slidey doors that only open when it hit a notch inside of the player, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I don't even recall, when we're kids, we do dumb stuff like this. Because I remember taking apart VHS tapes just to see, it's a movie we don't watch or it's blank or whatever. Mm-hmm. Taking it apart just to unspool it and because you could. But I never messed with the CEDs. Now, maybe because they cost like $80 at the time, depending on what movie it was. But I've never seen it. I'm assuming it's not unlike a vinyl record, though. Yeah, probably.
I'll have to look that up. Somebody's done a good video, I'm sure, online of the guts of a CED. Now I'm curious.
So that's the only way you could see it. It was on cable probably too. But again, even its appearance there, I think based on the fact that it wasn't a success in the box office, there wasn't a whole lot of play. So I'm not surprised that you haven't seen it. And a lot of our peers, I ask them about it, they don't even know what I'm talking about. But as a kid, and I haven't seen it since the 1980s, it left an indelible mark, certainly for that period of time. And I still have an emotional connection to it. That just based on that, I recommend seeing it as a great film.
So did I think you're trying to get there, and maybe you couldn't. What is it?
Oh, yeah. So this
the
carnival,
movie that stuck with you.
Oh my gosh.
Is like someone's performance or the vibe or some combination.
Yeah, I mean, it deals with issues that I don't remember heretofore having seen in a children's film, and maybe I hadn't watched any media or TV show or movie otherwise that dealt with these things, where you had this essential Faustian character. In this instance, he's the head of a traveling carnival, comes to this small town. I don't remember if it's a period piece. It may be set in the 1960s because that's when Bradbury first published it. But sure. I feel like it was even older. So it's a traveling carnival coming to a sleepy town, and everyone gets really excited when things turn darker. And this Faustian character played by Price approaches these kids and says, "I will grant you your greatest wish ever." And of course, the cost is something like their eternal soul. So the town gets upended. A bunch of crazy shit happens, and these kids, for the most part, these kids that are left to combat this evil that, like in most of these films, adults fail to recognize. That's what I recall.
Yeah. Reminds me, as you describe it, not the story or anything, but the similar concept recently we just saw Alien Earth, in that they had to put kids in these robot bodies because adults' minds were too fixed in their way of thinking, and they couldn't comprehend being in this robot body in a way that, as you describe in this film, that the adults couldn't recognize the evil because they were too fixed. And well, that's mythology. That's not true. But the kids believe it to the point that they're open-minded enough to recognize it, where adults maybe didn't. That's similar.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great observation. I hadn't thought of it that way, but yes. And it also makes me think of our chat about Good Boy, last week, where we're talking about how a dog is sort of able to observe supernatural phenomenon. And maybe for a similar way, they're not clouded by the, whatever it is, the responsibilities and worries that adults tend to have as they hit a certain age.
And I ran right out and saw Good Boy too, so we could talk about that sometime. That was another good one, yeah.
Okay. I didn't even realize it was out already, yeah. What am I busy seeing Tron Ares for? Gotta see Good
There's
Boy.
a dog horror movie to see, and you're out watching Tron movies.
Yeah, I recommend it. Look, if you have Disney Plus, see it. I don't know that I'd start subscribing for that reason, but there's other good stuff on there. Okay. And I'm definitely going to watch it again among the many horror movies that I guess I mentioned, try to see during this Halloween season.
Leading up to,
Good Boy, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I recommend seeing it.
Okay, cool.
Yes, thumbs up.
All right, cool.
It's not the greatest thing ever, but it's worth seeing.
Is it dog crunching through dry leaves for 90 minutes?
It is not.
Ted just messaged in the chat here on live, says he's in the theater right now watching the credits roll on Tron Ares.
Ted said he wasn't going to be here because he was going to see a 4:00 show, and here he is. He lied to us. He is here. Hey, Ted.
His early review here is non-spoilers. I really enjoyed it.
Opinions can't be spoilers. We like it.
Hey, another 1980s news per variety with additional reporting that I stole from the BBC. Robin Williams' daughter pleads with fans, "Stop sending me AI videos of dad." Oh, just that headline breaks my heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everybody's lost somebody. Imagine being, I don't want to say tortured, because maybe not everybody would be tortured by this, but have strangers send you AI videos of that person doing whatever they imagine or the computer did. And the way she, I'll talk about the story, but she seems to be getting inundated with these things. So Zelda Williams is the daughter of Robin Williams. Yeah, and she's also the director of again, another movie you could watch this Halloween, Lisa Frankenstein, which is that was
decent.
Yeah.
It was cute.
It was fun. Yeah, cute. That's a good way to say it. Fun kind of horror rom-com, sort of in the vein of Heathers, maybe, in the darkness of it.
A little bit like Warm Bodies in a way.
Yes, you're right. Yes. Anyway, she recently took to Instagram to tell people to stop sending her AI-generated videos of her father, the iconic comedian who died, sadly, tragically, in 2014. Here's part of her message here. "Please just stop sending me AI videos of dad. Stop believing I want to see it or that I'll understand. I don't, and I won't. If you're just trying to troll me, I've seen way worse. I'll restrict and move on. But please, if you've got any decency, just stop doing this to him and to me. It's a waste of time and an energy, and believe me, it's not what he'd want." And then I add this, how she concludes here, just because you know how much I don't like AI. She says, "And for the love of everything, stop calling it the future. AI is just badly recycling and regurgitating the past to be reconsumed. You are taking in the human centipede of content. And from the very, very end of the line, all the folks at the front."
From the end of the line.
Yeah.
I missed that part of the article. It's not bad enough, Human Centipede. You're the ass end of it.
This is a great metaphor. Yeah. All while the folks at the front laugh and laugh, consume and consume. Yeah, right? I mean, yeah.
Are you sure you didn't write this, Will? This sounds like your attitude toward AI. You and Zelda need to get together and chat.
Yeah, and I realized there's a story I wasn't bringing up because it wasn't an AI, it wasn't an 80s connection or even our era connection necessarily, but I might have to try to crowbar it in where we've got some lawsuits going on right now or some big name studios getting involved with, either fighting for or fighting against AI or the use of their content in AI, feeding of these algorithms. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it's not the first time that Zelda Williams has criticized AI versions of her father. In 2023, in an Instagram post supporting a campaign against AI by U.S. media union SAG-AFTRA, she described attempts at recreating his voice as, quote, personally disturbing.
So let me tell you, you know what they say, put yourself in someone else's shoes. So when I read this, I'm like, come on, just, so they're taking this celebrity and doing things. It's not the first thing, you're overreacting. But about halfway through the article, I'm like, wait a minute. I lost my dad unexpectedly in 1991. And what if somebody, there's very little footage of him because he died in 91. So it wasn't like everybody had a cell phone back then, right? But, and he wasn't wasn't an international celebrity with footage all over the place. The point is, how would I feel if someone mocked up a digital version of my father and was sending shit to me? You don't know him. You don't know what he would say. Yeah. And she even goes on in this article about he wouldn't approve. He would not want that. People doing that, it's like that problem of you don't know celebrities. You think you know them because you see them, but you don't know them personally. You don't know what their attitudes, even the ones that are outspoken and vocal, you don't necessarily really know their true heart, their true self. His daughter certainly would. His daughter says he wouldn't want that. More importantly, he's passed. It's less important what he would want. It's what she would want. It's what would I want? Would I want somebody sending me that crap? No, certainly not. And it makes me wonder, would it be interesting to kind of make one of those little motion photos of an old, yeah, maybe, but that's me doing it. That's not somebody dumping stuff, It's like we're talking about spoilers. You can't avoid it. You click it. You've seen it already. You can't unsee it. Yeah, it's not cool. I agree. Way to go, Zelda.
Yeah, you remind me how one of the social problems we have these days is bullying. It's an eternal problem, but they talk, studies I read about this is that kids can't escape it. To your point, right? You get bullied at school, you come home, you can't go online without avoiding these. And this is a form of bullying, whether they intend it to be, beneficial to her somehow or heartwarming or not. Yeah, that's, oh my gosh, I can't imagine. Yeah. Her latest comments come in the wake of unease following the unveiling of AI actor Tilly Norwood.
From everything that I've read, I just can't believe it's real. I don't mean that they can really do it. I mean that they really are doing it.
For folks who don't know, Norwood was created by AI through, I'm going to butcher the name of this company. Why would you name your company something that no one can pronounce? Gikoya, maybe?
It's harder to spell on a legal document when you're suing them.
I think there's an X in it. You know what? Forget it. Just let him go. It's fine.
Right, exactly. Well, it's too much trouble.
Yeah. Are you the owner of Gikoya? You've been served. Nope, that's not how you say it.
Not me.
Anyway, we'll call Z Gikoya, which is a London-based AI talent studio launched by Dutch actor, here's another name I'm going to screw up, Eline van der Velden.
That's pretty good.
I like saying van der Velden. That sounds cool. It's like a character.
That is fun.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Mel Brooks character.
Count de Monet.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Are you Mr. van der Velden? Wildenstein?
Gikola is working with estates and Hollywood stars who want to appear as their younger selves on screen. Is there a lot of clamoring for that? Well, I guess we'll talk about Tron in a minute. Maybe there is.
Yeah.
Norwood was, I said that already. Okay. Now I'm getting Norwood mixed up with the comedian who created her. Van der Velden reportedly said she wants Norwood to become the, quote, next Scarlett Johansson. That's got to make Scarlett Johansson a little nervous.
I can see using it to de-age people and, the deep fakes and stuff to, we've seen it in The Mandalorian to de-age characters and, people, whatever, to map Mark Hamill's young face on this actor so they can, I get that. But But that's not a movie star. That's like a bit. That's a gimmick.
Yeah.
In a scene, that's not an entire persona that, like Scarlett Johansson, it's like dismissing the thing. As a creative, that gets under my nerve, grinds my gears. They dismiss, you're in the movies? You have to stand in front of a camera. Anybody can do that. That's not what it takes. There's so much more to what it is. I've in my life said, you're very good at this. Can you jot down all the things it takes to do that? I'm like, if it were, are you saying that you're reducing what I do to a list of bullet points and then anyone can reproduce it? No. Right. No, I'm not saying what I do is awesome or amazing or the best, but what I do is specific to what I do, and it's not just replicated by having the ingredients. It's not a cake. You can't make another one at your house just because you know my steps. There's skills, there are talents, there are esoteric elements to it. There are judgment calls, things like editing is 8 million little decisions in a row. Mm-hmm. And no two people make the same 8 million decisions the same way, no matter how much you train them.
Yeah, and you're not documenting a decision tree that's going to cover all.
No, of course not. I'm just doing what I do.
Yeah, yeah, and this
very dismissive.
And it occurs to me, this Tilly Norwood's got to be at the ass end of the human centipede that we talked about.
But she won't mind.
She won't mind it, and she consumed Scarlett Johansson, I guess.
Well, she's AI. She could be the front, the middle, the back, all at the same time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
She can play octuplets, the octuplet human centipede.
Yeah, you're right. If he's getting a hard time getting actors to be in those movies anymore, there you go.
Yeah,
and they took it to another creepy level where she has like an Instagram account where there's pictures of her doing, everyday stuff. She's eating a yogurt.
Normal stuff.
Yeah, she's at
make her like a person. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the purpose of that? Although I guess if you have her star in something, you want her to have a following.
You want to have her feel real. I mean, I understand why you're doing it. And I'm not mad that they're trying to do it. I'm mad why anybody would want to, not mad. I'm confused why you'd want to do it because again, when you do that, you have to base that performance on something or someone. That's what AI is. It derives a performance or an image or a sound or whatever based on everything it's seen and heard before. So even if she's doing something original, it's got to be derivative of someone's performance or someone's lots of performances together. Just being on camera is not equivalent to being an actor or an actress. It requires so much more. And it's going to be wooden. I can't imagine. Yeah.
I guess, although since she's AI, they could go in there and tweak it. Then you get animators involved or something. I don't.
And we talk all the time about how great practical effects are. Yeah. You can't do a practical effect on a digital puppet. Everything's going to be digital from here on out, no matter what, anything you want to do to her. Anything, right? You're like,
not anything, John, not anything.
Well, look, okay. What I'm talking about, you take your mind where you want, but you're in a movie and you shoot her. Well, you can't put a squib under her shirt. You're going to have to digitally make. Everything is going to be digital. So why is anything organic anymore?
Yeah, and I guess the difference, because the first thing that leaps to mind is any of the Avatar films where you've got so much AI that, like, to your point, you do have digital squibs in those situations. But for the most part, you start with the performance of an actual actor.
Right. They're based on, you see those people they look like they lost at the paintball range, right? The dots all over their bodies.
This is different. In a statement, SAG-AFTRA said Norwood, quote, is not an actor. It's a character generated by a computer program that was trained on the work of countless professional performers, end quote. Mm-hmm. That said, in September, Vanderbilt revealed that her studio is in talks with a number of talent agents interested in signing the AI actress.
We'll see.
Is this a stunt of some kind just to launch this company? Or?
Maybe, yeah. There's a gulf between in talks and in a movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means to sign a... You're not really signing her. This is why I think this is part of it, just publicity. You're not going to sign a digital thing. They can't enter into a contract. You're hiring a company
right,
to use the likeness of this thing or the technology. I don't know. You're licensing.
You got it.
I'm running out of breath because I'm so pissed off.
Could you be any more angry?
Yes, I could. Ted says people can just be stupid and insensitive to others. Yeah, talking about generating...
Sometimes.
Some people that we've lost. And Marcus says, what the fuck? Marcus is mad too.
On our behalf. Thank you, Marcus.
Yeah. Hey, another 1980s news and stuff related to Tron, somehow directly or indirectly.
Sure.
Which we're going to talk about in a moment. Per Variety, Amazon Prime removed guns from James Bond posters. in honor of James Bond Day, which is October 5th, to honor the
I didn't know that.
the release of the first James Bond film. Dr. No came out October 5th, 1962.
Mm-hmm.
But don't you think a James Bond Day should be like a date that has a 7 in it? Maybe July 7th or something like that?
Because of the 007? I gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like
There's gotta
different,
be
like
a-
Star Trek Day is based on the premiere of Star Trek, but Star Wars Day is based on a cute number. Yeah, so
Yes,
it's
a
different.
pun of sorts. Yeah,
right.
or wordplay. Yeah.
Or Mario Day, right? Nintendo Day. It's like March 10th, MAR10.
so it's like-
Yeah, those things.
Anyway, in honor of that particular date, Prime Video UK posted artwork for the franchise, where a gun had previously been displayed in the images. However, Bond had effectively been digitally disarmed. I've got some examples here for you.
Yep.
So in several cases, such as Dr. No and GoldenEye, the iconic Walther, or as so I saw this cool video online. It's a behind-the-scenes video from one of the early films. There's this guy who he's an arms expert. Maybe he was in the military, but anyway, we're talking about when they were first making these movies and Sean Connery was Bond. Mm-hmm. He wrote to Ian Fleming when Ian Fleming was writing these books and said to him, "I love your books, but you're getting the weapons wrong."
Oh.
And the one thing that really perturbed this guy is that Bond's gun, what would become his iconic gun, is, as he pronounced.
So before you say it, let me try. Yeah. I've always heard it Walther PPK. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe he's further. What's the adjective for making something sound German? I know, not anglicizing it, but he pronounces it Walther. I guess maybe Russian even. Walther. He does a W like a V.
Oh, okay.
Walther PPK. So, and his issue with the Walther PPK, as he says, was it's too tiny. He's like, this is a lady's gun. It's not very deadly. It doesn't hold a whole lot of rounds.
Yeah.
And in this video, it's behind the scenes video, again, from decades ago, he does a little demonstration with different guns. He shoots the Walther at like a can of soup and just ding, dents it.
Okay.
And then he gets out like a gun that he recommends, which is a revolver, and he shoots and there's a big hole blasted in it. And he said now that Fleming said to him, I understand what you're going for, but he can't hide a revolver on his body as easily as he can hide this PPK.
I think it's pronounced Revolver is what you're trying to say.
Yes. Revolver.
Get it Russian, would you? Or
Revolver.
Whatever it is.
Anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting. Anyway, back to these pictures here.
Back to guns.
So as you can see here, in the pictures for Dr. No and GoldenEye, the iconic gun has been edited out of his hand, while in others, it's been cropped out. For example, in the image for 1985's A View to a Kill, it looks like Roger Moore's arms have been surgically lengthened.
Kind of straightened out somehow. I noticed in it there's unnatural lack of creases in his sleeves, I saw.
Yeah, and where his elbows hit his body, I think is like too low, like down there his waist. and they did that in an effort to get the gun out of, just crop it out.
Get it out of frame.
It's below frame now. Others clearly had the guns airbrushed out, such as in the GoldenEye poster seen here.
Because that's normally sticking like point right up by his face, right?
Yes, in his I guess would be his right hand there. This unusual result of this editing had Brit actor Rufus Jones joke that the poster looked as if the gunless Bond was now making a rude gesture.
It's like he's calling somebody a wanker, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's even the handy J gesture, or it looks like he might be about to fire off a middle finger even.
He could have. He could be.
Easily had that in there. Yeah.
Right. And if his other hand was about to wind, that would work, right?
The doctored images didn't go unnoticed, with many on social media criticizing the censorship and asserting that it was warning of what was to come with 007 now in the hands of Amazon. In fact, actually, so worried was Amazon. So this is Prime Video UK. The Prime Video for US, the American arm, they wanted to avoid it altogether. So they just put a 44 Magnum on a poster. They just
have a gun holding a gun is what they chose.
Yeah. And it's not even Bond's gun, as we talked about. This is Dirty Harry's gun.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You made this, right? Seriously.
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, I mean, we do live in the United States. Maybe?
Yes. That's my point.
I'm
exactly,
just making
right?
sure.
You can't even know.
Because when I saw it, I'm like, oh, Will's funny. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, I've seen crazier things.
Yeah, no, right? You would believe it. Exactly.
I see they went and switched to the Revolver, as you suggested.
Yes, exactly. That guy got his way, after all.
Oh, thank God.
Following the growing online backlash, Prime Video UK has now stealthily, much like the spy himself, removed these controversial artworks altogether and replaced them instead with stills from each film.
Okay.
However, folks are noting that in those stills, you still don't see James Bond carrying a weapon.
So before I ask you a question about this, let me ask you a question about a different film. How did you feel when they turned all the guns in E.T. into walkie-talkies?
I felt like it was a betrayal akin to George Lucas tampering with the Star Wars films.
I can better understand taking a beloved, arguably children's franchise, not even a franchise, really, just a single film, and going, and it was a certain time, and so we're going to take these out. There's no need for the guns; they're not shooting anybody, so we'll change them to walkie-talkies. Like you, I felt, well, that's not what the movie was. Don't change the movie. Just don't have kids watch it that are sensitive to gun violence. That's what you need to do.
Right.
But I can understand that about 25%. But gun violence is central to the character of James Bond. The opening credits start looking down the barrel of a gun. They're like, oh, it's not a gun.
And blood coming down.
It's a straw now. It's just a straw. We'll put rainbow colors. It's so emblematic of the character that taking a gun out is just like, take fangs out of Cujo. That's the point of the dog. He's not sick. He's not rabid. He has no teeth. And now enjoy Cujo. Well, that's what makes Cujo Cujo. And that kind of phallocentric violence in James Bond is endemic to the character. Taking that away is why do you even just take it off of Amazon UK if you're not going to have the gun in it? It seems silly.
I agree generally. The only thing I could come up with is a justification, and Prime hasn't spoken out about this. It could just be let's face it, corporations are big, and somebody's probably responsible for these thumbnails, and higher ups don't even know what goes on. That said, the only justification I could think of is maybe, once you watch the movie, you know what you're in for. You've made that choice, but is it necessary? Mm-hmm. I don't know where these promotions were. I was thinking they were on the menu for Prime UK, so you could select which movie. So maybe if kids are scrolling through, we don't want to glorify guns or put unnecessarily, versus someone who knows what the film's about clicking on it and watching it because they, that's the only thing I could think.
Well, and again, you could say, oh, maybe it was a bus poster, or maybe it was something else. Yeah. But then just don't use an image with a gun. Why would you take an image that is easily recognizable with a gun in it and change it? As they did, as you said, they pulled them now and replaced them with stills from the movie that didn't have guns in them. Okay, as long as that's an honest representation of something that's in the film, that's okay. But it just seems ill-advised. Yeah. It's like, do you want people to not know their guns in it until they go, oh my goodness, a gun. I didn't know it was going to be in here. You're trying to surprise them with the gun? It's odd.
Yeah. And I don't know why. And I'm wondering if it was the UK that did this, because we know they don't have the gun culture that we have. And although that's a UK-born character, I don't know. It's a little hard to, without them making a comment, it's hard to understand. And to your earlier E.T. Point, Spielberg had apologized years ago, and he most recently did again, just within the last couple of weeks, said some.
And he put them all back.
Yeah,
he undid the change. He didn't re-add guns. He just undid the. We put in larger guns. Everyone has a bazooka.
Tank. Yeah. Here's some comments from folks online, and I don't know that they're. Look, I don't agree with the change necessarily, and we're struggling to understand it, but I don't know. These people, I think, missed them. Their criticism seems misplaced to me.
All right,
this is a major red flag from Amazon. While their PPK is much a part of Bond franchise, Tech Cars in Danger, I'm mad, and if you're a big fan, you should be too. Now, when they're talking about it being a red flag, it's because, as you know, after this, just a few months, a year ago, Amazon owns now the rights to this franchise. So they're going to start producing the films. This doesn't mean they're going to change the films and now he's going to...
No, right. Exactly. Right. Yeah, that's a huge leap in logic to go, if you modified some posters, you're going to make him carry around walkie-talkies instead of guns all of a sudden. That doesn't necessarily mean that.
Yeah.
We don't have enough information, but that's we talked earlier about spoilers and stuff, and people are eager to get out an opinion about something. It doesn't matter if they have more information or not. So it's like, I'm furious about this based on what I assume.
Here's another one that hits on a different point, but this reinforces what we talked about. Look, this ties it all to Tron again, and our opening news story. This is absolutely why more people should be supporting physical media. When the end user gives up control of that media, it doesn't matter which streamer or studio decides something is disagreeable in the future. Now, I'm pro physical media, although I'm trying to downsize, quite honestly, but I'm pro the idea behind wanting to have it. But this misses the point, too, because they're not changing the movie. They changed a friggin' thumbnail.
The representation of the movie.
So owning, whatever. Again, these people, and this is another point, which I think is this somewhat interesting? This is exactly the way in which...
Read it, I'll tell you.
Please, John, and then we'll leave it in or not. We'll talk about it or not. This is exactly the way in which legitimate gun control efforts, which I generally support, are tragically undermined. James Bond is fiction, and his Walder is central to the lore. Does efforts to remove guns from images, we don't know why, but people are assuming it means because they don't want to glorify guns, I suppose, undermine, I guess it means, people say, look, it's going too far. It's a step too far. And what is this? Again, people thinking that one little thing might indicate a whole lot of other action that would be taken, which doesn't logically follow, I don't think.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. It's just rage to be outraged about. I mean, you could be unhappy with it. You're making a lot of inferences that aren't based on any other information that we're aware of.
Let's see a couple of comments, and then we'll talk about Tron. Marcus says, Cat leaves, and John decides it's the Saurus night. Oh, you must have been dropping some big words. Oh, yeah, you did. And he saw the look on my face. Let's see. I think you were making a reference to phallus.
Phallocentric?
Yeah. Is that what we, is that
something? What did I say?
Is it the same root as phallus? Meaning that it's this, man kind of, okay,
sure
very good. Gotcha.
Yes.
The guns are the symbol of okay. It's very Freudian. Gotcha. Wild Thing says, but walkie-talkies can send harsh words.
No, those walkie-talkies don't have buttons on them, so you can't send harsh words.
They did. Yeah.
There's no trigger. Yeah.
All right, whatever. Okay, hey, that was 1980s news. Yeah, let's talk about Tron. Hey, I know it sounds like we've got some giant corporate sponsor behind us, but we don't. Instead, our show is brought to you every week by listeners just like you. And by brought to you by them, I mean they help pay for the bills. And there's a bunch of them to bring you a quality podcast about 80s nostalgia and its continued impact today. Hey, to join this group of fantastic folks, please go to patreon.com/1980s now. And if you can't do that, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and the podcast platform you're listening to right now. I'm just going to say this to you. I always feel like these talking about movies like this in this way, it's sort of unwieldy to me, you know?
It is, yeah.
I feel like we got to just focus on a few things, and because there's so much I'd want to say if you and I were just hanging out.
And we should point out that we intentionally have not yet spoken about the film.
Yeah. Right. Good point.
We messaged each other. You're out of the film. I'm headed home. I got home. And you messaged me like, we're going to wait to talk on the show, right? Yeah. So right. I have no idea what you thought of the film, and you have no idea what I thought of the film.
Okay.
Yet.
All right. So let's first just give some basic stuff.
Yep.
Just the stats and such. Okay. So it's directed by Joachim Running. I'm trying to remember what else he directed. He directed one of the Pirates movies. He's directed some big films.
But it's like Dead Man's Chest, I think, was the one he did. One of big stuff. One of the not good ones, but that's okay.
But big action sequences, which this film has as well. It was written by Jesse Wugatow, for crying out loud, people. What happened to Smith? What happened to be named after whatever your father did? I know there was no Wugatow in this town this guy's family came from. Whatever.
Well, his son will be Wugatowson.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And let's see, additional writing credits to David DiGilio and Steven Lisberger, who's the original writer, creator, and director of the first film. What else? I know I got stuff written down here. Oh, the cast. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to tell you the cast is, and we could talk about our feelings about them, I guess, as we go. We've got Jared Leto, Greta Lee, Evan Peters, Gillian Anderson, Jodie Turner-Smith, and a bunch of other folks, but that's the main cast there. The budget was $180 million, which is 10 more than Legacy, but Legacy came out 15 years ago. So that's
15 years ago. Right.
So it's not it's not it's not a big increase. It sounds like a downgrade almost size-wise if you think about inflation.
But it's pushing Red One budget. Wasn't Red One $250 million, $250 million? And this is what, would you say 180?
Yeah. It's a lot of money, certainly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Then I guess maybe Legacy was too much money for 15 years ago. That's probably.
I would say, yeah, that's fair.
Way too much.
Most of it was spent trying to de-age people and didn't work out well.
Yeah. Currently, NRG is tracking the advanced ticket sales at around $40 to $45 million this the opening weekend in about 4,000 theaters and maybe 80 to 90 million worldwide start. I have to say that because we've seen it. The movie's going to open after we talk here. Oh, this is where we dub in. All right, we'll just do 2 reactions here, right? And I'll try to remember to cut one of these out. John, the box office was huge. It's overwhelmingly such huge
amazing
surprise. Yeah, great.
As deserved.
Yeah.
Okay. Try it. And take 2.
The box office was really disappointing, a disaster.
Yeah. That would surprise me a bit.
Yeah. All right, one of those.
Perfect. He's one of those.
Yeah, one of those will stay in. The synopsis, I suppose we could stick to what you see in the trailer. This is a movie that's post the last 2 films. But unlike the previous 2 incarnations of this franchise, instead of humans getting trapped inside of a computer system, you've got programs from the computer system coming into the real world.
Being brought to the real world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, it's not like...
Against their will, if in fact they have a will. Let's assume they may or may not.
And that's interesting because in the first 2 films, the humans are essentially, certainly in the first film, brought to the computer world against their will.
Right.
It's funny. I watched Legacy like a week ago for the second time. I can't remember how he gets in the computer. Does he? Oh no, he does. Is it an accident or does he do it on purpose?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Legacy is so forgettable to me.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of fans were upset that this didn't just, take Legacy and take the next step from Legacy. It almost ignores Legacy. And it kind of repeats some stuff from Legacy, I would say. But it kind of, and I will just say, I don't dislike Legacy. It's a blank to me. I can't remember, other than remembering a kid in his bedroom talking to a bad de-aged character.
Oh my God.
I can't remember much more about that movie.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges says he thinks the de-aged version of him looked more like Bill Maher.
Yeah, maybe so.
Kind of did.
Yeah.
And I want to skip through this non-spoiler stuff so we can get to talk to spoilers quickly here.
Okay.
I guess maybe we should just say whether we recommend folks to see this or not. Oh, one big other thing. The music is by 9 Inch Nails this time. Not Daft Punk, which split up just a short time ago. I think earlier this year they announced they were going on separate and solo projects. 9 Inch Nails, interestingly enough, it's not really a band. 9 Inch Nails is Trent Reznor, and it's been Trent Reznor until around 2016, I want to say. Maybe a little earlier than that, maybe 2010. He had a record label called Nothing, and he signed a band. I want to say it's called 12 Rounds, and 12 Rounds was Atticus Ross is 12 Rounds, and he struck up a friendship and found a similar that these guys he really gelled with this guy, and so they started making music together and scoring films together, like The Social Network and so on and so on.
Yeah, Reznor's kind of taken this Elfman path in a way, not as extreme. Yeah. Elfman kind of was like, I want to get away from Oingo Boingo and do these things. But yeah, Reznor, is this the second, third, fourth, maybe, film that he's done a score for?
Oh, and
he's coming into his own. We'll get spoiler area. We could talk a little bit more about music. But it was a fine job.
Yeah, and so the two of them, and I think every movie that Trent Reznor scored, but maybe not one. I think maybe all of them. He's scored with Atticus Ross. They do it together.
Has he? Okay.
Right. And now he is now an official member of 9 Inch Nails and has been since, I think, again, maybe 2016. Okay. So to say it was 9 Inch Nails or just the two of them, we could talk. I don't know. That's not really a spoiler thing. Yeah, that was a conscious effort. The producers went to him and said, "Would you do this?" And he said, "Oh, I love Tron. Hell's yeah. I saw it when I was a kid in the theater." But they said, "But would you do it as 9 Inch Nails?" And he said, "You know what? That's interesting." And he had to think about what's the difference and how does it change how he approaches it. And at the result, I think,
I'm sure it does.
Got. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yep.
The only other thing I wanted to say, I guess, and then we can talk about whether we like it or not, move on, is I recommend seeing it in IMAX 3D, I think, which is not normally something I would say.
I agree with you. I agree. I only saw it in IMAX 3D because that's all that was available. had there been any other option. If there was burned in subtitles, I would have gone that path instead.
Me too.
But I found out 3D movies have come a long way since the blurry headache that I remember when they launched over a decade ago.
Yeah.
It looked fantastic. I can't imagine watching it toward the end of the movie, I'm thinking, oh man, in the future, I'll never be able to see it like this again. This is fantastic. It looks so good.
See it while you can, and it's in theaters.
Right.
And see it this way.
Yeah, IMAX 3D.
Because it may be great on TV, I don't know. But the visuals are made for this medium.
A couple of times when I was thinking, God, this looks good, my analytical brain was still cooking. And I'm like, let me close one eye.
Yeah, I did that too.
It still looks okay, but it's not as remarkable.
I know. Some of those images, yeah. And you know, you're talking about the headache-inducing version they used to have. I think they used to play too much with the depth of field. That wasn't natural. Like when I look with my normal eyes, things are not, I don't have this depth of field. It's like a Brian De Palma film where he uses those bioptic lenses or something to get to.
Right.
Now it's so subtle, you forget you're watching 3D, except suddenly there's this vista and you're like, I'm in it.
Agreed. I agree.
And also for the Nine Inch Nails music, because you got a better sound system in those types of theaters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it. All right. Maybe we should see whether we liked it or not. And then let's talk about get into the nitty gritty of it.
I watched one review before I went to see the film. And he said it was forgettable. And he said the only things redeeming about it were the soundtrack and the digital effects. And I sat through 2 hours of this movie waiting for it to suck the way that he said it was going to suck.
Yeah.
Or I guess I did a disservice to myself. I just shouldn't have watched any reviews at all, but I was actually de-incentivized to go see it based on what I saw. But then Will was like, go see it tonight. And I'm like, all right. And I guess I'll go see it if it's for the show, you know. And I got to the end and I met an amazing guy. I sat down, just serendipitously sat down next to this guy, John, and his wife, Viva, and his two kids, who I told about the show. They might listen. But we talked all about Tron leading up to it. And I didn't even bother to tell him I saw bad reviews. I didn't want to poison it for him.
Yeah.
And then we got to the end and he's like, well, that's pretty good, right? I'm like, I think it was, but I'm still processing it because am I just an idiot? Am I not seeing the deficits that other people say? It wasn't earth shaking. It didn't have anything that broke new ground dramatically.
Right.
But I had a good time.
My review is identical, including the fact that I met some cool people at the theater as well.
Oh, wonderful.
The only thing I guess a couple of things I will add is, or build on what you're saying is, yeah, I've seen folks criticizing the story too. Effects, spectacle is amazing. Sound is amazing. Story is thin. Characters are, maybe not, are underdeveloped. I think the problem is maybe the fans or some of these critics have an expectation that is not aligned with the previous films.
I was thinking something similar leading up to the show. I was thinking, can something just not be good anymore? If it doesn't blow your hair back and knock your shoes off, it's not good.
Yeah.
This was just good.
Yeah.
It didn't change my life. It's not my new religion, but boy, I enjoyed it the whole way through. I wasn't looking at my watch for the 2 hours. And some 90-minute movies, I'm checking my watch halfway through,
Yeah, I agree.
I wanted to see the next thing. I was eager to see it.
It cooked along. Yeah, I agree there. But I think maybe because of the subject matter of all these films, which has to do with AI, which we've been talking about this whole show now, AI, going back to the very beginning, even though we didn't have maybe used those phrases in 1982 when the first film came out. And Steven Lisberger, I've seen a recent interview with him. He said he didn't even understand how people were going to fear technology. And he wished he had understood that when he made the first movie. So it's about AI. I suppose I feel like people and bringing this thing to themselves that maybe in the first two films, they saw some kind of great existential examination of the human condition and technology that I didn't. Quite frankly, the first movie when I was a kid, I loved it because of the spectacle. You watch it as an adult, you're like, this is kind of thin.
It is flat, right? You could say that makes Ares a great spiritual successor to the original.
I agree.
It is what I say about Good Boy before. Was it not for the dog, it was a very vanilla horror movie.
Yeah.
Was it not for the digital spectacle, this was a very vanilla espionage intrigue movie. Mm-hmm. There was no huge twists. Yeah. Oh, did this guy betray that guy? Saw that coming. Yeah. There were no big surprises in this movie. I think going in, I'm like, oh, okay, I know we're in the spoiler territory now.
No, not yet. Let's give it another.
Not yet. Okay, I'll hold on to that. There were parts that I'm like, I bet this is going to happen. And it did. And I'm like, I'm not surprised, nor am I mad.
It didn't seem to be, I mean, I think you were saying this. Are films so fantastical that I don't realize this anymore? I see a lot of movies very few leave an impression, like an indelible impression, like we're talking about, that's long lasting or have me questioning things when I leave the theater. Most do not. You go on a ride if you're lucky, and you get off the ride. And that's what this was for me. And I'm surprised that folks are criticizing it as it not being a Blade Runner or Ex Machina or films that have analyzed these kinds of questions in a much more profound way. It's not supposed to be that.
53% last time I looked on Rotten Tomatoes.
Shocking.
And I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for it to be bad because I was told it would be bad. And maybe that helped my impression because I'm like, oh, I thought it'd be bad and it's normal. It's good. It's not tremendous. It's good. Therefore, it surpassed my expectations so much that it gave me even more appreciation for it, maybe.
I think for me, learning from talking to these two folks at the theater that I did, they're younger than we are, well, not by much, but maybe a generation, I guess, probably in their 30s. Mm-hmm. It seems to me how much you like this movie compared to the other two, maybe based on when you first discovered Tron. If you saw Legacy first, that's probably your favorite. If Legacy was already out by the time you saw the first Tron, Legacy's probably your favorite. But I feel like having been alive when Tron came out and seeing it in the theaters, like you were suggesting, this seems more like a sequel to Tron than Legacy does. And
it does. I didn't think about that.
I'm a fan of it for that reason.
Yeah. This is going to be a boring discussion. We're just like, I agree. There's no argument, sounds like. Maybe we'll find something, but we're on the same page, it sounds like.
All right. So, hey, go see it. If you like the first one and you like Legacy enough, go see it. It's fun.
See it in IMAX 3D. At least 3D. At least 3D.
Yes.
I cannot tell you how impressed I was with how far 3D has come. It makes me reconsider. I'm like, normally I eschew anything IMAX 3D because like, I don't want a headache. Yeah. Now I'm like, well, maybe is this one I want to see that way? Because maybe I do now.
All right, go see it. And that's that. And if you want, come back and hear what we're going to talk about now. See how your opinions hold up after you've seen it. So in a similar order to what we talked about, I guess in non-spoilers, starting with cast. Jared Leto starts off as the antagonist, I suppose. So many things I'm confused about. He's named Ares, but he's the Master Control.
Yeah, so Master Control is a job you can have.
Yeah.
You can be fired from and someone else appointed as Master Control. Yeah. I thought Master Control was a big cylinder that you throw your identity disc into. I didn't know it was a dude.
Yeah, that I remember as a kid thinking it looked kind of like the Kool-Aid Man because he was kind of like red and
stretched out across the sphere. Yeah.
So in the original film, the Master Control program was kind of it wasn't the avatar of David Warner's character Dillinger because Sark was. But it was also David Warner, and it was the equivalent of what he typed in to have Sark do was, conveyed through this MCP. So now they changed that role. I don't know, whatever. I didn't really want to dwell on that so much as to say that anybody could have played that character, but Jared Leto. Having said that, he was fine. He was understated, so he wasn't very Jared Leto. So he didn't. I expected him to drive me crazy the whole time. Yeah, and he didn't.
I want to explicitly say, if you're watching live on the stream, we're about to get into spoilers.
Oh,
we didn't explicitly say that, but it was implied.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Right. There we go. There's a noise. Like my impression of this film, I've not seen much Jared Leto other than maybe the recent Blade Runner 2049, whatever it was. I saw him in that, and in that he was kind of wooden by design. So I feel like I don't know what Jared Leto does, really. I didn't see his Joker. I don't know what he does. I haven't seen his films. Not because I avoid him. He happens to be in films I don't watch. So I was predisposed, like this film, to dislike him in this role. In fact, I was even joking before the movie with a gentleman that I met, John. I said, well, all Jared Leto has to do, not really being informed, is all he has to do is kind of, be wooden and lifeless and stare in the distance and be a robot. He's good at that probably. And he was, and I no longer hate Jared Leto. I'll say that. He had to do acting with his eyes, almost like he had a mask on. Like he wasn't smiling or frowning at any point. He was just kind of this deadpan all the time.
Yeah.
But he made revelations with his eyes. He made connections with his eyes. And I think there's something in the ability to do that without all of the extras that you can use to act, and you're reduced to just subtle reactions. And I'm like, shit, maybe he's an actor. And I've been underrating him because he didn't hurt this film for me. I liked him in the role just fine. I wasn't sure why he had to be all scraggly beardy. If you're going to 3D print him, wouldn't he be nice and smooth like Athena was? He just didn't want to shave probably.
Yeah, it seems like a Leto thing. That's just his look. He looks like Jesus all the time.
But why would you add all of the resolution of all these hairs when you're 3D printing people? Why would you bother? Or maybe that's just a trivial when you're printing all the rest of them. I don't know, but it's goofy. Yeah.
He's always creeped me out. And just not as an aside, I suppose this is important, but we're talking about this movie as we presented to us. But in July, there was a report in Airmail that he was that 9 women have come forward to say that he had engaged in inappropriate behavior with young women, girls, teenagers.
That sucks. I didn't know that.
I don't know that it's gotten farther than that report, so I don't know.
Well, I won't judge. Not proven. We don't know. I mean, often we pre-condemn based on accusations, but. I also don't dismiss anybody's assertion, so I'll let it, before I decide to hate him, I'll wait and see what happens.
Agreed. I don't want people to think we're not aware, but we are aware. Yeah. But what's interesting is it seems like we talked about this a while ago. This project languished for some period of time, for like a decade, 15 years, until it came out between the last one and this one. And immediately following the 2010 one, they had, Lisberger had an idea for the next one. And he was working with the director, who was Joe Kosinski at the time. It was called Ascension. Then it languished. Apparently, Jared Leto went to Disney and said, I want to star in this. I'll help produce it. Let's get this going. I'm a big fan. So I really think
that's what I heard too.
That role is almost too small for him. And at least his apparent stature. And anybody could have played it. It could have been a no-name person. My point is, I really feel like this was Jared Leto pushing to have a $200 million cosplay as Tron. And I mean Tron, the character, not necessarily the movie, because this is kind of a Tron analog ultimately. And he gets to do Tron stuff, riding light cycles. He does the iconic.
Yeah, he holds up the identity disc over his head. Yeah, when he's in the column of light. Yeah. Oh. As soon as there was an established, since this is the big star, he's not going to be the villain of the movie. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm like, well, he's going to have to turn on the bad guy. But the structure of the film, you have the protagonist, who was the young lady who ran the other company, Incom Now. You had, and she had a sidekick buddy. And then you had an antagonist, which was Ares. I mean, he had bosses, but Ares. And he had his sidekick buddy, who was Athena. And then you had a MacGuffin. You need the permanence code. And then they had to chase the MacGuffin around because everybody wanted it for different reasons. Oh, I'm going to use it to improve the world. I'm going to use it to destroy the world. And I'm like, well, Jared Leto is a named actor. The protagonist is not someone you recognize instantly. So he's going to have to be the hero somehow and make everything. And that's exactly what happened in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said earlier, no surprises story-wise. No. There were moments where literally you could think of the next line and the actor would say it. Like, I know what this is going to be.
Unless the next line was just can't get enough.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was cute.
I guess hovering a moment on actors, Greta Lee is fantastic. She plays the protagonist, Eve Kim, who's, as John says, she ultimately finds the MacGuffin, which this code that's necessary to keep these 3D printed, essentially, programs, 3D printed in our world, alive for longer than 29 minutes. Otherwise, they go back into the software software world. But she's believable in anything she plays in. I think she's great. Evan Peters plays Dillinger, the Ed Dillinger from the first film's grandson. He's the mustache twirly villain of the piece.
It chews on the scenery. Does a fine job of being a villain.
I know. It didn't bother me either. I know. Gillian Anderson plays his mom, and Jodie Turner-Smith plays Athena that John referenced.
Yep.
And as we alluded to, that's the story. So you've got these folks chasing after this ability to keep AI-generated things or 3D printed AI stuff alive indefinitely. It ultimately leads to these questions again, which are kind of tropey about existence. What does it mean to be alive? What does it mean to be human? Not in any way that is earth-shattering or will sort of upend your philosophy of life in any way.
I often joke about putting me in the writer's room, but as rote as the beats of this story were, I thought there was a great twist coming, and I thought I was super smart, and they didn't use it because they had the permanence code, and then she had to destroy it before somebody got it. And I'm like, oh no, it's gone. Nobody will ever get it. I wasn't thinking about it was a backup of something. Yeah. But then I thought her sidekick buddy made a drink out of the orange that they created that had the permanence code. So they thought they could get the code out of him because it was a double helix code.
That's hilarious.
Because it was now he'd ingested it. So I thought they were going to go back to him somehow and be chasing him down. But they just ignored that entirely, and there was a backup. So boo. That would have been more interesting, but it didn't happen.
I love that idea, yeah. There's, speaking of actors, I guess, and story and whatever we're talking about, Jeff Bridges makes a cameo, which, as I mentioned earlier, his cameo is spoiled by Jeff Bridges. apparently they wanted to keep that a secret, and somehow he let it slip out. So now he's part of all the promotion. So
and he was so Deus ex machina. I never say that properly. It was just, it's like everything is kind of going to shit. Here's Jeff Bridges. He's going to help you self-realize. He's going to give you the code. He's going to help you get back out of the computer. He did everything to solve the movie. Everything. Yes. But not for Jeff Bridges in the movie. The bad guys win.
It was Deus Ex Dude also, because he was very Big Lebowski in there.
Yeah, very much so.
His attire almost even, right? With the symbol on the back was almost like the embroidery on that sweater he wears or something.
Yeah. I don't think that was an accident.
Speaking of that, I suppose, there were some great 80s connections, including Jared Little's character just literally saying, I love the 80s, which we do.
Yeah.
But Jeff Bridges, I thought this was cool. I didn't see this coming. Ultimately, when they lose the permanence code because Eve, as you mentioned, destroys it, they figure out the only way to get it is maybe where they originally was discovered or created or solved or whatever, is in the original program or grid, as they refer to it, that Jeff Bridges' Flynn character created in the first movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so this Jared Leto character goes back to being a program, so he get in the computer system and looks for that. And I think it's Greta Lee's character says, to find it, look for something that looks like 80s. And I didn't know what that meant. It seemed like a throwaway to me until they actually go to the world, the design that we're familiar with from the original
old
Tron.
grid.
Yeah.
I was blown away by the concept, like, different computers from different eras have different looking grids based on their fidelity and their resolution. There was a quick little callback when they stole/bought the guy's car, and he says it's a classic. And then he gets in a yellow light cycle, and he goes classic because it's an old car. It's an old light cycle. Thought it was wonderful. Yeah. And a quick reference to music. There was that beat to the Tron theme at that moment when they were on the lights. He was on the light cycles and going for the crack. And there was a Tron theme.
Yes.
And that made me realize, quick, Will, hum the Ares theme.
John had that same thought too.
It's just atmospheric. There's no theme.
And I agree with you. But like we're talking about this being a more worthy successor of the first film, I think, than Legacy. The music too. The music for me was more like Wendy Carlos's music from the first film than Daft Punk was in Legacy. Daft Punk's music from Legacy, you could play at a dance club and you wouldn't necessarily know it's a soundtrack.
That's right.
You're not dancing to the soundtrack. But for a couple of clearly 9 Inch Nails songs, even with Reznor singing on them.
That's fair, yeah.
You're not grooving along. It was moody, it's atmospheric, it's atonal, it's dissonant, much like the music from these 80s dystopian sci-fi films were.
But couldn't it also have a theme or just reuse the Tron theme or something?
Yeah.
I remembered I enjoyed it and it was appropriate, but I couldn't hum it to you. It was, that's what it sounds like.
I agree.
That's all.
Yeah, but it made me feel things.
Yeah, they did this job there.
I don't think we can end this discussion without talking about some of the visual effects and some of the stunt scenes, because I think for me, when we were encouraging folks to see this in IMAX 3D, which we mentioned, like it wouldn't be necessarily something we would run out and go and, how we would consume our films. Part of it is that it's crazy. Some of the things that they're able to pull off, and a lot of it is in camera.
What's in camera? I don't know what you're talking about. Really?
Gosh.
I'm waiting to find out what crazy thing is in camera. The only thing I can think of might be in camera is the insane glow on their costumes.
Yeah.
That was kind of pseudo in camera in the original Tron 2, but by Tron 2, I mean Tron also, not Tron 2 Legacy. But I mean, in the original Tron, they had that reflective safety tape on, and then they shined lights on it. And so in the camera, it made that. But I'm dying to hear what in-camera effects were in Ares, because it was stupid good.
Yes. And I guess when we're talking about the visual effects, all we have to say is, with regard to the stuff that's clearly doesn't exist in our world, you can't really tell. Even the recognizers, which I think are, for me, that was like breathtaking. Like that was, I mentioned this weeks ago when we found out this was coming out, that for me, that would be akin to me seeing a UFO. Like if I were just in Cleveland, let's say, and a UFO came, I think that's how I would feel. And I don't mean that I would feel that way if I saw a recognizer in Cleveland. I'm saying I felt that way seeing a movie with it in it. Like it was so awe-inspiring, the scale of it. Clearly that's computer generated.
Well, yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We talked, had to be weeks ago, we were talking about the upcoming release of Tron Ares. And I'm like, now we get to find out how big things are, because I don't know how big a recognizer is. I've only ever seen it inside of a computer, and that's all inside of a computer. It's digital. And then it was... So in the movie, it was about as big and ominous as I expected it to be. But again, the analytical nerd in me couldn't turn off my brain to think, well, if you're 3D printing, you can make it any scale you want. You can make a little one, you can make a great big one, right? Because you can scale them up and down before you print them. But everything seemed to be to scale to our world based on what humans related to, because a person in a cockpit is that size. So that's the size I envisioned them to be, like a floating building. Like,
oh my gosh.
What kind of power must that thing have? And it had little thrusters.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the impossible thrusters of Iron Man. How is that thing staying up in the air? It boggles the mind. It was impressive.
Yeah. And actually, I said I was going to talk about some of the in-camera stuff, and I will, I promise. But staying on the recognizers for another moment, and thinking how we were talking about how they recreated the original Tron look as if it were a different server. I like how that explained why these recognizers would look so different. That it wasn't just an evolution in computer programming where the grid from the original film changed. It was just a whole, it was like, Mark 5 or something, or Mark 5000.
Right. This is that was an old Motorola chip in the grid. And now we have Intel chips in the grid, right? So it's a whole different matrix. And it didn't occur to me, like you, I was thinking like, oh, well, the grid looks different because it's 2025. But then when we went back and on the old grid in Flynn's computer, I'm like, of course it still looks like that. Why would it look any different? We have updates to Star Trek, like Strange New Worlds looks nothing like the original series Bridge, even though it's a prequel. And they just kind of have to accept it. And I was just kind of accepting it, like, because movies, that's how things are. But then we went back to the old grid. I'm like, oh, I'm home.
Yeah, it's more like
great.
It's more like playing, PlayStation 5 for a few hours and then taking out the Atari 2600. Of course, those games weren't upgraded. They still exist how they exist. But I thought that was pretty cool. But one of the most impressive in-camera things, and I'm talking, they did all the stunts, the fighting, a lot of that was in camera.
Yeah.
And then it was enhanced with digital effects. And obviously, again, clearly the stuff that can exist in our world, it was digital, created by industrial light and magic. But a lot of the light cycles in this chase sequence in the highways of, I don't know what city they're supposed to be, were real.
Those were vehicles?
Yes. They actually had a team that modified Harley Davidsons so that they could actually drive them. And if you see them, they look fantastic, and they're also lit up as well. They have the LEDs, so they would, of course, toss the glow about them on the area around them, on the ground, on the street, on the cars they're passing. So they didn't have to worry about putting that in real, because that's kind of hard to fake in computers, that kind of stuff, or certainly difficult. But no, then they of course went and digitally enhanced those, so you couldn't tell that aspect of it was a real bike, or they added the I can't remember what they properly called those light walls, as we talked about before. But of course, those are added in. But yeah, the chase scenes, we're talking about practical motorcycles.
That's cool. Yeah, I want to talk about the light walls. So I always remember in the original Tron, of course, these light cycles left, and we knew that they were collision worthy. They were real. They weren't just light, because other light cycles would crash into them and blow up, of course, right? So we knew that. But the way they were used in Ares, I found to be really fun, because they were everywhere. They had them on their little staff weapons that would leave little ribbons that you could knock people into. At one point, they had the flying ones flying around. The protagonist was her name, Eve. I think her name was Eve. Is that right?
Yep.
And like created this wall, a circle around her, so she couldn't get out of it. And she's banging on the wall. And I'm thinking, well, it's infinite. Is it energy? Is it matter? Well, I don't know what it is, but I couldn't figure it out. But the effect was, both the effect in CGI effects was awesome. And the effect it gave in terms of storytelling was really cool, because how it ripped jets apart and tore the car apart, and it was super dangerous, crazy stuff. I'm like, wow, it's not just a wall. It's like a knife. It's like thin as must be thin as a beam of light, but solid and deadly. And that was, I always wonder what those would be like, and now we know.
And to your point, the stunt folks, the director, whomever, probably all of them together, depending on which part of the story we're talking about, came up with so many clever ways, which you've suggested, that the characters would use the light to, fight against their enemies. Some of those fight scenes were fantastic because of it. I remember I think it was Jared Leto's character using one to sort of, an enemy put up a light wall with one of those, spears or whatever it was. And sort of, he used it to sort of jump on and then jump off and kick somebody. So he, it could have been used, to a beneficial effect, in those ways too.
I would love to talk a little bit about what I'll call it is the discussion chase. Okay. There's a set piece inside of the new grid where Jared Leto and Eve are on this amphibious bike, and they're having a discussion about, can we make a deal where okay, I'm gonna switch sides. I'm gonna go against Dillinger.
Oh, right.
I'm going to get the permanence code, and we're gonna use it together to help me and you. Do we have a deal? Do we have a deal? Like, first of all, she couldn't say no because the only reason she's alive is that she's on this bike with him.
Yeah.
No, well, you're kicked off. But that entire race, it felt so amped that I got the vibe of like a Phantom Menace pod race kind of thing. Like, this is so crazy. It's such a spectacle. Clearly, it was one of those things. Here is the big render task we have to do. This is the one we've been rendering for years to get that done. And seeing it in 3D too, every little, she reached down and the water even was just little particulate bits. It wasn't really fluid. So much about that made me go, what is that? Wait, I want to stop. I want to stop the camera. I want to walk around the bike. I want to look at the water. They just suggested things about the grid that we never thought to think about. The fluid inside of the grid. What is that like? Well, we kind of know-ish. Yeah, I just wanted to stop the camera and get out and touch everything and go, oh, what are they showing us? What now exists in this world that we hadn't seen before?
Yeah, and that one, the fluid that the quote unquote fluid you're talking about, that was kind of a surprise reveal where they do that escape by jumping off of a tower. And I was thinking just sort of Tron, sort of the mechanics of Tron prior to that. They're going to die. They're going to hit something. Yeah. They're going to need some way to fly out of here or something. But no, they land in what effect appears to be like water, which is what you're talking about, this sort of pixelated substance that's liquid. Yeah. I appreciated that. Unlike Legacy, this one thing bothered me about Legacy was that they made it almost like the Matrix in a sense that, or Wreck-It Ralph, where in Legacy, if you remember Michael Sheen's character, he has like a casino or a bar where he's like entertaining programs. In the original Tron, I don't recall, they were forced to fight and play these games, but I don't remember them being such fleshed out in a sense, in a human way that they need to see, digital strippers. And
it's not like in a society with entertainment and
I need a rest. I need a break. What is that? That was bizarre. But in this one, you're talking about all these little embellishments they made that enhance the reality of it. They didn't do that kind of stuff where these, I don't know, these things have lives that would be more akin to a human.
A couple more things popped to mind. I'm curious what you think about. I didn't care for the black hat, white hat dichotomy of, well, the bad guys have red glowy suits and the good guys have blue glowy suits. Mm-hmm. It was a little too on the nose, and I get why you do it because, but bad guys think they're the good guy. They wouldn't go, let's make us the color of the Sith. Let's make us the color of, of fire. And the other one's like, oh, it's blue and it's water and it's nice. That was a little on the nose. And even, I think, wasn't at the end, like when Ares turned, his suit glowed blue instead, I think. If I'm remembering black, right. Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah. And the other, I didn't know what to think about the triangular identity disc with the little blades that pop out. Mm-hmm. Now they had a purpose because at one point he drops it and that's how they escape it smashes the glass floor, but you could have done that with anything. Does that make sense aerodynamically to have a triangular identity disc?
Yeah, it didn't to me. It's sort of what you're talking about with the colors. It just occurred to me at the beginning. It was this motif. We have to distinguish the NCOM people from the Dillinger people. Mm-hmm. And I recall seeing, when it cuts to Dillinger doing that speech at the beginning, they had similarly triangular shapes, a pattern on the floor that he was standing on doing it. It's like, okay, I guess they're the three-sided things and NCOM's the circular things.
And it's everywhere. Not only is it in their costuming, but in their 3D printer, like in the sparks that are going on inside of the, they have these supports when they print the graphene supports before they, and then, but when the good guys printed Orange Tree, it was blue sparkly 3D printer things.
I didn't notice that. Okay. Yeah.
Everything bad guy evil was red sparkly and good guy was all blue sparkly. And it just felt a little too cartoony for something that,
I think for me, it was rescued by the fact that it's a motif that's been going back to the first film. If you remember, Sark was red and his soldiers were red and Tron and the other guys were blue. I think some characters were orange. But yes, I think they've been doing it. So in the last movie, they did different things. It was like the good guys were black and the bad guys were orange, I think. I don't know. But that didn't bug me. Mm-hmm. All right, so I think that's the movie, right? I think we've touched upon everything.
Well, it is the movie, but then the credits rolled. We ended up, surprisingly, people were filing out.
Yeah.
there was a mid-credit sequence.
Right.
Sometimes these days I don't wait around for those because I'm like, I'll watch that when it streams. But I was already sitting talking to my friend that I'd made, right? So we're chatting about what you think about the movie. And we have the mid-credits. So it's kind of a throwback to the original Tron. So the way he escaped
Yep.
was to get sucked into the grid, right?
Yeah. You're talking about the antagonist in this film.
Dillinger. Right. The Dillinger is there and the cops are banging on the doors because he's responsible for all this terror. And he's like, well, I'll just zap myself into the grid and that'll be fine. And he ends up in the grid. A very different way that Eve ended up in the grid. That bothered me a little bit. Like she was kind of there as a golem waiting to have her identity disc. And he was just there, that broke some for me.
Yes. And it was clearly, you knew they were doing, well, something's up. And it was because they wanted to surprise us with something. But
yes,
they could have had him in that gray clothes like Eve and then surprised us, you know. When she put her identity disc on, she changed as well.
And then after that happened, I turned to the guy next to me and went, boy just got sarkified. Could have been like half a second. It flickered.
Yeah, you're right. So he does have the costume of David Warner's Sark from the first film. But they make it, you have to be a fan to know what the heck's going on.
Yeah.
Because it's so brief before it cuts to black, I think.
Yeah. And then it continues with the credits. So that opens up the question, what does that mean?
Yeah.
They obviously set that up for, okay, if in fact, and I want to go beyond, it's for a sequel, John. I know that, but I mean, if in fact this film is successful, based on the critics so far, I don't think it's going to be, but it'll be money. It'll come down to money. But so what does that mean if this Dillinger now effectively, I mean, if MCP is a job title, Sark must be a job title. I guess you could have.
Wait, and MCP is open now, right? Because I think the new MCP.
Oh, that's right.
Didn't
Athena's
she also
gone?
perish?
Right. Yeah, right. But is she dead or is she just de-res and go back to the grid? That's unclear.
Right,
I don't know. But because she was going to de-res eventually in 29 minutes anyhow. So I'm assuming she's alive in the grid.
Oh, right.
So maybe she's around, but she's out of the real world. So her defeat was kind of meaningless because if you could have just, kept her busy for another 10 minutes, she would have de-resed on her own.
Challenge her to a foot race,
Right. But now this new Dillinger, this grandson of Dillinger or whatever, is a new Sark. So what might that mean for another one if they chose to continue down? They didn't continue Legacy, so who knows if they'll continue this. But if they did, what would that mean?
Yeah, and even for me before that, when I saw that, I was kind of bummed out for lots of reasons. One, I don't like setups that are intended to just say, hey, hang in there. For sequels that may never happen. You don't know how good this is going to do. Hang on. If you want to do that at the beginning of the next movie or something. But also for me, it was kind of world breaking in the sense like we were talking about earlier about the MCP. Like the MCP was not a program that like the others, in the first film, but now it was a job title. So I don't know, this was kind of weird for me like that too, which had me questioning, wait a second. Sark was a thing independent of David Warner, who was outside of the computer. So had David Warner been sucked into the computer, would he have to be fighting for the role of Sark with this other Sark? I don't know. It just seemed a little...
Or do you have one Sark per grid? I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's not a Sark in this grid. Because Flynn lives in his old grid, not in any other grid. So maybe that's just his address. Is it a position like governor? Is it a position like, magistrate or something within every grid? That's unclear to me because of the way they established that the different grids are actually separate. Yeah.
And actually, so if you, I was kind of, it was, if you caught right before he went into the grid, you saw him typing feverishly in the computer and you could see Sark, the program name on the screen. So you knew something was coming.
Well, I thought it was just going to be a crazy Easter egg because I saw the Tron video game Easter egg of the select screen for a moment, and many times I go, ooh, and I'm wondering if people around me thought I was having, seizures because I just spontaneously would go, out loud. But
John loves this movie.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, that's going to be nothing. And then when it wasn't nothing, I'm like, oh, well, that's clearly meant to say, oh, Sark. But what about Sark? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not sure what it implies. Maybe it's not meant to, maybe they don't know. They're leaving it wide open to figure out what it means.
And so I did a little digging, and maybe you know this already, but just to figure out, like, what was Sark? What is Sark? I couldn't find that there was actually a particular acronym for it, although the S may very well stand for security, because my understanding is, based on reading some various, stuff I found online essentially about Tron lore, is that Sark's role in the first film was to protect the MCP, which makes sense from a story perspective. So it was a security program, keep the MCP, the main program, running. So did they not have a Sark prior to that? And it was just the MC, I don't know, whatever. It's just some world-breaking things to me. And not world-breaking, maybe world battering. Something less than breaking. Injuring.
It's there's got another world. It's like it's chipping away at canon. Like you have this canonical idea of how the world works. And the dorkier you are, the more likely it is that you want the world to make sense because you're a fan of it. And one thing that Ares didn't do great for me was too many things were done because it was cool to do rather than because it reinforces or establishes something that exists properly in world. So it was there was confusion around some stuff that happened. I
don't know. It's fine. But, to your question about, or to your statement about, that if there'll be a sequel, if there's money there, and what does it mean with regard to maybe his role? I wish they hadn't, obviously I said I wish they hadn't had this tease, but also I kind of like the fact that this one was separate than the second one, that it was kind of a new story, a different story. We got some different characters. It doesn't feel right to me that we went from, there was a continuity between 1 and 2. Now there's a continuity between 1 and 3, but not necessarily 2 and 3. Because, and there's the other thing about it, right? At the end, we see the ending of the film is Ares saying he's got some, he's out in the world now. He just lives in the world.
That's right. That was, when you talk about that, I loved that bit. I like that little, speaking of bit, I love seeing bit again inside of the old grid. But that's not the bit I'm talking about. That bit at the end of the film where he's just out roaming around on motorcycles, meeting people in the world and finding out what it's all about. It's a Pinocchio story, obviously. And in this case, Pinocchio said, okay, well, now I'm out there. I'm going to go see this world that I got to be permanent in.
Yeah.
And if Jared Leto had facial hair and a scraggly, mane on him, that would have made sense because now he's existent in the world and he is, living. But he finally looked appropriate then. Like he looked like the biker. He looked like the whole movie now, finally, when he was a biker at the end. But I did like that you got your wish. What are you going to do with it? He's living it. He's out there exploring the real world. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, although it raises questions for me. Does he age now? Obviously, he's mortal in the sense that we get that he can die and be destroyed. Right. Because there is some, sort of existential underlying question about maybe the permanence code really isn't permanence because we know you can die. But is he going to age?
They say something about maybe it's impermanence code. Like it changes you from being constantly rejuvenatable.
Right.
That's not a word probably, but you can be rejuvenated as many times as you want versus, now that you're real, like you said, what happens? Do you age?
Yeah.
I mean, and Flynn did. So, but he started out real. So who knows?
Yeah. Some of this stuff's confusing. But speaking of confusing, and that Ares looks at, remember, he's like, I've got some friends to find or something to look into. And he has a picture of Sam from Legacy, who's with Cora, played by Olivia Wilde.
Oh, is that who that was? Yeah. I didn't pick up on that.
Okay, and here we go. Here's another thing. At the end of Legacy, Sam, who's Kevin Flynn's son, who's the actor, I can't remember his name. He's great in Sylvester Stallone's show. What is that? Tulsa something.
Tulsa King?
Yeah, Tulsa King. He's great in that show. But Sam escapes the grid, and he takes with him a program, Cora.
Oh, that was what they were referencing. Okay, that makes sense.
So they were able to get a program out, and she looks fully realized as a human. Now, maybe 29 minutes after that movie ended, she disappeared, and Sam realized the horror of not having the permanence code. Maybe that could be a thing, but Ares doesn't seem to know that because he's there looking at a picture of this woman who presumably has been gone for, I don't know, years, right? It's 15 years between these stories.
There's so many questions. Yeah. And then and when they 3D print you in the real world, I guess you're vanishing from the grid. Yeah. There's only one copy of you. If you're Data, why couldn't you still exist?
Right.
But sometimes you have to go, relax, dummy. It's a movie. But there are things, because you have a world that you want. It's like I said, if you're dorky and you want that to make sense so that I know the rules, because if you don't know the rules, it's hard to understand the stakes.
Yes. And therefore enjoy the film. I agree 100%. Yeah. And not all these things need to be answered, but some of them do, or clarified at least.
They shouldn't conflict at least. They should at least.
All right. Is that truly everything now?
I think. I didn't stay to the very end. Maybe there's another scene I missed, but I left.
Well, do they do this at your theater? They turn on the lights when there's no more credits.
They do. Yeah. I was gone before that.
All right, cool. Hey, go see it and see it in 3D and IMAX if you can. As fast as you can.
If you're a fan of Tron, I understand you look at the reviews and you see the negative feedback, and I almost fell prey to that. Honestly, Will, had you not messaged me and said, hey, I would like to do an episode about Tron, can you go see the early advanced screening Wednesday? I would have waited for digital.
Yep.
because I was already convinced that it wasn't going to be very good. And again, like I said at the beginning, it didn't change my life. It's not my new favorite film.
Yeah.
But it's not 53%.
Yeah.
It's much, I would give it it's a 75-ish kind of movie, right?
Yep.
80 might be too generous, but not bad.
Yeah.
It's a pedestrian story of a MacGuffin and good guys and bad guys trying to get it for different reasons, but it's understandable and relatable, and it expands the world of Tron, if not a bit confusingly in some cases, in a fun visual way. So
yes, and I'd say maybe see in the medium the way we saw it maybe adds another 5 points to that 75 maybe.
Yeah. There's a bonus for IMAX 3D. Yeah.
All right, hey, go see it. Let us know what you think about it. All right, John. Hey, that's our show. And since Kat's not here, God, I forgot her name already. Look at that. Kat, come back.
Oh, that's right, Kat.
We miss you. Hey, and since you'll hear this, I'm just kidding. Since she listens to every bit of it. Hey, so we're going to thank some folks quickly here, and then we'll get the heck out of here. It's very special thanks to our early adopters. These are the folks that they supported our show as soon as we said we're doing Patreon. They just jumped on and gave us some money, and they still do.
Right.
And we are so grateful for that, quite honestly, regardless how much money they gave us, if they started giving us a quarter every month, we'd still name them because we're grateful that without question, they just started supporting us. And those two folks that I'm mentioning are Rick Parker and Karen Flieger. Thanks, guys.
I love them.
And as great as those folks are, we have a number of other people that also support us on our Secret of My Success level Patreon supporters. These are folks who pay at least $10 a month, quite honestly. And they get this special little bonus of shouting out. Now, look, you give us any amount. We have other folks who give us less. That's great. It's cash green money. We cash it. We use it to pay these bills. It
all adds up and helps.
Yeah. If the vendors will accept it as currency. Hey, if you could have a skill you can barter with these folks for on our behalf, maybe you have eggs from a chicken farm or something, and somehow they'll give us StreamYard. That we could do that, but we don't have that in the meantime. But what we do have is the support of these fine folks, and I'm talking about John Henderson, Marcus Taylor, Matt Marino, and Brandon Greer.
Great folks.
Yeah, and hey, if you don't have the wherewithal to support these folks, hey, join us on a live on YouTube and just chat with us. That would be a great way to support us. Subscribe while you're there. Follow us on Facebook, or hey, follow us right now on this platform that you're listening to this fantastic show. You would not believe how important that is to the success of a small independent program like this. All right, that's it. All right, we will talk to you next time on 1980s Now.
End of line.
Wow. Folks aren't even going to know that was you, John.
Why did John say goodbye?
All right.